together here could do more good than everything we disagree on. And again, it is really sincere that I'm sorry that I hurt so many people.
You didn't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
You did
Didn't
not.
hurt anyone.
I was part of the problem too, if you're going to go by that. But I hope you don't feel responsible. I don't think that.
Well, I do, and I feel like I blundered. Oh, that's right.
We're going to repeat that
No.
first hug and that first GA. You were sticking up for rights. Nobody blames you.
You were standing up for all of us, Leah.
So, for me, I think the powerful message is, along with our rights, which I'm a gun owner, I support our rights, our responsibility to show concern for one another. And thank you, Leah. Thank you for the stand you took in terms of being willing to stand for what you believe so strongly in. And thank you for both of you for coming to a place where you're willing to stand and respect the things that matter to the whole group.
Hi, I'm Lisa. This is my first General Assembly. I was kind of watching the things play out online last week, a couple of times a week and stuff. It really bothered me because I did think this was an inclusive group, and I did not like seeing the, if you have a gun, then you're not welcome, and you have to sign paper and blah, blah, blah. I just really didn't agree with that. I was a gun owner, but I got stolen, which is whatever, another story. I do respect the Second Amendment, but I can think back to going into Murphy's Tap Room probably like 5 or 6 years ago, and the Free Staters were there, and they were open carrying, and I was like, oh my God, that guy has a gun, and it like freaked me out. And over the course of me becoming more aware of things, I realized that if something were to happen like what happened 2 days ago, which Leah referred to, that's the first guy I want to get behind. And I've come to respect that, and I just would like to see people, I don't know, come to that. I mean, it takes your own getting there. You can't force someone to feel that way. But I would like to see this not push aside the people who want to, express their Second Amendment right, because that person could maybe save your life someday. And just let them show that they're just, expressing their rights. And it's not to take away from your right, it's just an expression of their rights. That's it.
Direct response. I think that process that you went through is part of the reason that those of us that open carry actually choose to do that over concealed carry, because okay, you have your first reaction, and then you're around people and they seem normal. You talk to them, and they're not pulling it out and pointing it at you. Normal is a subjective term. But anyways, I honor you for bringing that up and saying that, because it's like I say, it's part of the reason that I open carry rather than conceal. You got a floor.
Hi. I'm here because I want the voice of the and I
Speak up a little.
And for me, the focus is on that, it's not on guns or anything else. That's it for me, I guess. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Hey, I'm Vinny. I just want to point out that one of the most important ideas in all of philosophy is the law of non-contradiction. You cannot be and not be the same thing. You cannot be the 99% and not be the 99%. You can't claim to be the 99% and then exclude a group which is pretty close to 1% of the population. Not that free-staters are necessarily 1%ers in terms of wealth. Certainly not mine. So I just think that anybody who tries to continue claiming to be the 99% while excluding a huge group of the New Hampshire population is ridiculous.
The rationale that I was explained was that people who are excluded were still part of the 99%. You just couldn't take part in on it. Everyone understands exactly the rationale.
We're going to represent you whether you like it.
In other words, my voice. Thank you for that piece of clarification.
I'm Ian Freeman. I am from the Keene area. I'm one of the bloggers at freekeene.com, and I've been involved in Occupy Keene since the very beginning of Occupy Keene. We've never had issues like that, like you guys have experienced out in Keene. Everybody's always gotten along pretty well. The reason why I got involved was because I've been a lifelong activist, and I want to do activism. That's why I moved to New Hampshire, Free State Project participant. And the occupiers seemed like activists, so I wanted to get involved and listen and hear what their issues were and see if there was a way that I could be of assistance. And everything's been great out in Keene, and so when I saw what was happening here, which is so ridiculous, I wanted to be here to see what was going to happen next and see if I could be of assistance in some way.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I'm Will Kostrick, and I was also occupied in the early days. Was at the park and was involved, advocates involved as a late and started getting back in. As far as moving forward goes, someone posted something online that really caught my eye this week, and it was about tolerance. And tolerance is putting up with something that makes you uncomfortable. That's what it means to tolerate. If it's something that you agree with or something that you don't mind, then that's not tolerating it. That's just agreement. That's just everyday life. The entire word tolerance means that it's outside of your comfort zone, and that's what we have to do is step beyond our comfort zones, because otherwise, you know, the cliques continue to form, and as people have mentioned before, the whole two-party thing is how we got here by you know, those Catholics, those Republicans, those Democrats, those Jews. You know, if you're just going to write off entire groups of people, then how is that different from anything that everyone has always done? So when I'm here, I'm pretty much not interested in debating or discussing anything that I happen to disagree with anyone here. I'm interested in what we can work together on, and I think the purpose coming together, I think this whole thing started because people lost sight of the fact that, in my opinion, Occupy was how we can come together to figure out what we can do together to make a change, and at no point could it ever be about us coming together to tell other people or each other what not to do. At the point that you come and say, well, you know, let's all tell this guy what not to do, then you're no longer, it's a completely different road that you're going down than saying, let's find out what we can agree to do together.
I'm Teresa, and
I'm bleeding.
I've been part of Occupy since Occupy. I helped start.
I don't know.
Occupy Boston, so I've been here since the beginning. I would say that the lesson for this week is that we are all a voice of Occupy. None of us are the voice for Occupy. And what we saw this week is people who really believe that their answers are the answers, and that we should I don't know, just subjugate ourselves to what their will is, and I refuse to do that. And I really just want to take last week as a lesson in what I've said is going to be the hardest part of Occupy since the beginning, which is that the hardest part of Occupy isn't necessarily what we're trying to do with our government or any of that stuff. That's all really hard stuff, and what this gentleman from the Veterans for Peace read was right on. However, the hardest part of Occupy is learning how to talk to people that you disagree with at your core and still working together with them for progress. And that is what we need to do. And if anything spelled that out really clearly, it was the events of last week. I am glad that I was banned from the page. It gave me a very nice break from what has been a very stressful thing for me. And it also gave me some ability to let go of some things that I couldn't control. And it also started this conversation. So I'm glad that that last week happened. I'm upset that it happened, but I'm glad that it happened. I know you can't have two things that are different be the same, but I sort of do. I feel conflicted about it, but I feel like overall, this is a good opportunity for us to reconnect, figure out what things we can work on together, and get that work done. Because we have a lot to do. And that's all.
I'm Christopher. I guess I have a long background in nonviolent direct action, and I would like to see two different types of events. You know, one where people are expected to be open carrying if they want to, and then other events that are known ahead of time to be nonviolent events where there will not be any weapons. But one of the lines of the nonviolent code is I will not bring or use any weapons. Two different types of, and they're fine. Both fine.
Is that everyone?
No.
Hello. Oh. Hi, I'm Andrea with the Concord Monitor, also photographer. So I was at one of the initial meetings at White Park, so it's been interesting to see how far you've come since then. It's a good day at the office.
How far have we come?
I don't know. Some people look like they've got some sun, you know. Way different than June. Yeah. Anyway. I'm Diane Sirocco. I have been a part of Occupy since January. However, I was working with Occupy Manchester, and during that time, I actually felt like it was becoming a cult under Mark, and even actually fought with Katie Talbert about how I refused to be a part of Mark's group. She kept insisting that it is not Mark's group, and I told her, wait, it won't be long before you will all see that Mark thinks Occupy New Hampshire is his. And I left it alone until I saw the petition against an umbrella term for a group of people. Now that to me is almost the same as saying you're gay and I'm against you being gay, so you have no part of being here. That is exactly the same exact thing. I will not tolerate it, and I'm standing here in solidarity with each and every one of you that believe that we all have the right to a voice.
I'm Alba Mordal, and my name is Alba Mordal, and I am designated the mother of Occupy New Hampshire. And I am here to be a voice of reason when the things first erupted. That I always gather them towards the as a voice of reason. But now I'm being called a traitor. So I take it as a compliment. So apparently if you don't agree with Provost, you're a traitor. So you Matt, you're a traitor now too. Yeah, we are. Thank you.
Has everybody had a chance to?
Everybody?
Oh, Matt.
I want to be last.
Can you allow me some extra time because I have a proposal to make at the end of this?
Go for it, Matt.
I'd like to this to be on record because this might be behind this. Hi, I'm Matt Richards. I've been involved with Occupy Manchester and Occupy New Hampshire since the beginning. I camped out in Veterans Park for 5 days. I got arrested twice. Once like standing up for the homeless, once trying to break into the Republican primary. I've been involved in the court case, and I've been very proud to be fighting with all of you. I've been disturbed over the past weeks that some people in Occupy have wanted to make this an exclusive group in which people who do not agree with them are not allowed. I've been disturbed by that. I'm glad we're all coming together again because of that. There's been something I've been much more concerned about, however. I believe that we should be an entirely inclusive movement. I do not think that because we are an inclusive movement, we need to let abusers and bullies within our movement get away without being held accountable. I do not think we need to be a movement that silences victims from speaking up about crime, about things that have happened to them. I do not think we need to be a movement that promotes a culture of silence about abuse. Abuse has been part of the Occupy movement since the beginning. My friend Elizabeth Edwards, she went down to Occupy Wall Street. She talked to some rape victims who said they felt like they were being silenced because people didn't want them to speak up because the police would invade the park. I heard about people being excluded from Occupy Boston for hitting and punching, abusing women. I do not think we have gotten to that point as Occupy New Hampshire but I am seeing huge red flags this week and last week, and it has made me very scared about our community. And this is very hard for me to say, but I had been friends with Mark Provost since like October, and over the past few weeks I've seen him making abusive comments towards women, bullying people for their gender expression. I've seen him making emotional threats, personal threats, disclosing personal information about people in order to terrorize them and shame them into not opposing him. And I have huge red flags with him, and I do not think Mark is an evil person, but I think he is an abusive person. He makes me feel unsafe. I think he is unhealthy for the entire community, and I want to go on record as saying this. I think my proposal today is in 3 parts. We can endorse any or all of them. One is I want Mark Provost to not be allowed any of our resources or any of our funds as Occupy New Hampshire in the spirit of holding abusers accountable. This has nothing to do with his political orientation or what group he joined or whether he supports guns or free staters. This is about abusive behavior. I think people need to be held accountable for abusive behavior, and I do not think abusers need to have access to our resources. The second part of the proposal is I think we should release some sort of statement that people here have felt abused by him and feel that he's unhealthy for the community. And the third part is I think we should exclude him from the decision-making process until everyone feels safe here. And those are my 3 proposals you can discuss. Those are my 3 items you can discuss. Thank you.
Does that mean, I'm not sure here, maybe the proper thing to do is to take a temperature check and see if people want to add these proposals to the agenda? Is that correct? So, do we break these down one at a time? At the end of the agenda? Yeah. Okay. So,
don't remember the exact wording, so I'll just add on last.
Can I say one thing about it, because I might not be around that late to talk about it? I think that if we're going to make a statement or something like that, it should be in a positive way, because like I've gotten along with Mark. I actually liked hanging out with him. As much as I hated like trying to talk about issues or anything with him, I like you said, I don't think he's evil. I think he has good intentions. But put this as a statement, like you need to like, in the anarchist words, you need to check your privilege. You need to like look at like, just he needs to check your privilege. And I don't want to say get help, but like just sit back and think about how your actions.
My only question is, one of your tenets would be the power piece, right? Are your three parts to your proposal, one of them was about power and having power?
You mean the access to funds and resources?
Resources. So that one, does that include admin on the page?
Yes.
And if we're not here for the vote, we I support. Okay, so we'll hold, that'll be it. Thank you.
So, all right. Has everybody had a chance to introduce themselves, give some of the Alright. So we'll go on to the next part of the agenda.